Okay, so who am I? I'm Juan Manuel Garrido. I'm developer relations at Frontity. We are a team of 2 people, and our job is to ease the creation of projects with Frontity by creating proper documentation, creating demos, and giving talks, and so on. So if you feel that we can improve in some way the experience of creating projects with Frontity, feel free to reach us and tell us your feedback about it. So what is Frontity? Frontity is a tool that allow you to create projects with React and WordPress. So the idea is that you will still be using WordPress as a server to store the information and to provide the information, but the front end will be developed with React. So what is React? Well, React is a JavaScript library to build user interfaces. It's so you will be able to create interfaces using components, like the components approach that it's used in some other frameworks like Angular or Vue. React, well, is component based and is declarative. So you say what you want, and React does it in the background, or at least some of it. Well, WordPress is the most popular CMS. 35% of the web pages are done with WordPress, and yeah, you can do a lot of projects with WordPress. You can do blogs, e-commerces, and a lot of directories and a lot of projects. The cool thing about WordPress is that it includes a REST API. So from that moment, a whole new world started, and we were able to communicate our WordPress REST API with front-end tools. So this is very important in Frontity. We will see that in a minute. So what is Frontity? Well, Frontity allows us to create React-based themes for headless decoupled WordPress. This means that WordPress is only used to serve information through the REST API. So there are other, like a typical WordPress page, you actually render the page using PHP and so on. But with this approach, WordPress will not be in charge of rendering the pages, but Frontity will. So with Frontity, you consume the content via the WordPress REST API, and you can have your site render as an SPA, as a single page application. Another extra feature is that with Frontity, you can have also SSR, server-side rendering. That means that you can combine like both approaches of creating a web page. You can render your HTML from the server side, and then there is a process in React called hydration, where the client side takes control of the web page. So that gives you like the best of both worlds. With single page applications, the SEO is not as good as it could be, but by combining SPA with SSR, with server-side rendering, your pages will be properly indexed by Google. So Frontity offers you this, like a good developer experience, a good SEO experience as well. I mean, your pages will be SEO friendly. And also you will have an SPA. Frontity is focused on WordPress. So there are other tools to do the so-called Jamstack like Gatsby and some other tools, but Frontity is specialized in WordPress, so it simplifies you a lot the process of creating a React project with WordPress. And it's also opinionated. That means that we provide you automatically a lot of tools to manage like different things you have to deal with in a front-end project. For example, to managing styles, we use Frontity use the CSS in JS approach, which have several advantages like the optimization of the final bundle. I mean, the final performance of your website is going to be as fast as possible because the files needed to make your the files needed so your user can see your web page are going to be as small as possible. Frontity also uses an internal state manager, so you don't have to add some extra tools like Redux or some other tools. So with Frontity, you can have by default like the typical tools you will need for a Frontity for a React project. Okay, some of the key features we have already mentioned them is SSR and SEO friendly. It's extensible. That means that Frontity is built to be used with packages. That means that you can create your own package and that can be reused by some other people. There are already some packages, for example, packages to deal with analytics, Google Analytics and some other sites. There are packages to manage the data, the source data. So for example, there is one package to get the information from the REST API, but there could be another package to get the information from GraphQL source of data. Also, there is another package to manage the routing, but the good thing is the philosophy behind this. That means this is very scalable. There could be a whole world of packages to add features to a Frontity project that can be reduced between Frontity projects. It's very easy to create a Frontity project. We will see that in a minute. You have a dynamic rendering because of the use of WordPress. You can add information in your CMS in WordPress, and that content will be automatically loaded with Frontity. I mean, you don't need to rebuild your website like with other tools. Is serverless ready? That means that you can actually upload your Frontity project into a serverless function, and it supports WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So your source of data could be in WordPress.com perfectly. So summarizing, you have a grid UI and a grid UX. You have because you will have a page that will be loaded very fast. The SEO will be good. You have a good developer experience because you will be dealing with components that can be reused among all your projects, and you can also use a lot of React components that are already in the market. And you will have a great CMS experience because the content creator is already familiar with WordPress, and he or she will be very comfortable dealing with the content there because it's a tool that they already know. So this is more or less the scheme that you will have with a Frontity project. On one side, you will have the WordPress server storing all the information and providing the CMS, so people will be able to log in WordPress and add information there and so on. And the WordPress will offer the data to the Frontity project via the REST API. So there will be like some endpoints where some JSON data will be delivered by the WordPress server. So Frontity will take all this data and will create the HTML for the user. And that creation of the HTML will be done in the server, and then it can also be done in the client side. Okay, this is our Twitter. We have a contest in case you don't know. So if you create a Frontity project, there is some swag that you can get, and if you're interested, and there are like 2 spots, so you can get a 1-hour consultation in case you are, a 1-hour consultation session in case you are interested in creating your project with Frontity. This can be very interesting for you because we can provide specific help for your project. Okay, so do you have any questions? Okay, so let's go and let's do some demo. Okay, to create a project with Frontity, first of all, you have a documentation docs. In this documentation page, you have all the information you need to create Frontity projects. There is a starting guide that you can, it is getting started. When you have here explain all the steps that you can follow to create your Frontity project. The first thing is that we are going to use the command line tools. So there are some command lines available in npm. The first one we're going to use is the create. So to create a Frontity project, we will use npx Frontity create. So let's do that. npx Frontity create demo JSNation demo JSNation. So what is this tool going to do? Well, this is going to create a folder called demo JSNation, and inside that folder is going to put all the files required to start with Frontity. There will be some questions now that we need to answer, and we can choose a default theme that we can change after, but to start with, we can use the March theme. So it will create some files, and from here you will see that it's very easy to start to launch like the project, because we have a default project already built, so we can start checking the code and doing some changes and so on. So we will use this code, this March theme code, to add some small components, and then we will deploy the code to Vercel. You have here also the steps to deploy a Frontity project using the now command line tool provided by Vercel, previously called Sate. Okay, in case you want to receive updates by mail, you can say yes here. The newsletters are very useful and are very compressed. I mean, they are only sent one per month or something like that, with very interesting information. So I really recommend you to subscribe to the newsletter. Okay, so if we check, we can see that this is the structure that has been already built for us. So we have this this Frontity settings is like the settings of your project. If we check this in Visual Code, if we check this in Visual Code, we can see this file, Frontity settings. Let me reduce the font a little bit. So here we have the settings of the project. In these settings, we tell Frontity things such as, I want to use the tiny router package. I want to use the HTML to React package. And the most important is that I want to use the Frontity Mesh theme package by also adding some configuration. So this configuration also, in this configuration, we can also add some state data. The state is a portion of the global scope in JavaScript. So, I mean, in the global scope of JavaScript in the browser, in the window object, there will be a Frontity object that is a global. So you can actually check that object. We will check that in a minute so you can see it. Inside that object, there will be a portion called a state. And this state, you will be able to access to this state in your React components. So you can actually communicate your React components using this global state. So now that we have our project created, what we can do is launch this project locally. To do that, we use another Frontity command that is already here, that is the dep command. So we can do npx Frontity dep. We can add some options, but for now, I think that we can directly do npx Frontity dep. What this command is going to do is going to launch a local web server with your Frontity project using the Mesh theme, using this theme that we have defined here. How many themes we can use with Frontity? Well, in the docs, here you have a relation of some of the themes that have been already created. These are like the official ones, but there are some themes made by the community, but you can create your own without problems. Some of the, here we have a showcases category where you can see all the projects, or some of the projects that have been done with Frontity. And these projects have been created by creating their own theme. So here we have the Frontity project. This Frontity project is using this WordPress installation. And this URL corresponds to the REST API. So if we go here, we can see how we are getting the information from the server in JSON format. This is what Frontity is using. So if we come here to network and we can see here the Ajax request. So if we click in these links, we can see how an Ajax request has been done to the server. Frontity has been in charge of managing this. This is the request that has has been done to the proper endpoint in WordPress. And with this information, Frontity has been able to build the HTML. Second thing I'd like to show you is the Frontity object. Here you have all the information that Frontity provides from the WordPress REST API to your React project. We have several portions, but right now we can focus on the state, where every package have its portion of the state. So the theme has its own portion, the source package has this portion, the router has this portion, but we can access to all this state in every React component. And here we have some information that we can use. The source package is in charge of getting the information from WordPress. So here we will actually get the information. So for example, here we can see all the links that Frontity has detected, and some of them has been actually fetched from WordPress, and that information will be put here in the proper place. The category information will be put here, the post information will be put here, and we will be able to access this information from React. So for example, if we go to the header, we can see how this is a React project using components, importing components, and Frontity. That is a package that we have already installed. We have some packages in the WP source package, tiny router package, but we have also like the Frontity and the Frontity core that are the core of the tool. And Frontity offers you like several methods that you can use. And we have all of that documented here. In Learning Frontity, here in the Frontity package, you have here all the tools provided by Frontity. I mean, those that you can import from Frontity. So you have Connect, you have Use Connect, you have Styled. So very quickly, Connect is a higher order function that will inject into any component the Frontity object. It will inject this. It will inject the state. So from this state, you will be able to access all the information here. Well, actually, it injects also libraries and actions that you can use. So with this Frontity object injected, passed as props into the React components, we can destructure the state, and from the state, we can access things such as Frontity title and Frontity description. This information comes from WordPress, from the REST API. So the description you have in your WordPress installation can be used here. And some other information that you can use. Actually, the description. Yeah, sorry. No, the description is the information that you put here in the Frontity settings. Okay, so let's create a quick component. Let's create a quick component here. So what we can do is create like a banner or something like that. Well, what we can do is using CSS in JS. So to do that, we use the style. There are some tools taken from style components that are offered from Frontity. For example, the styled method, we can use it to create a div, and we can put here background, ground and red, for example, or better, border 1px solid red or 2px. So with this component here, we can put this here, for example, banner. And the dev, what actually did was launching a web server locally, but it's actually watching the changes you are doing in your project. So every time we save the project, the web page, the local web page is reloaded. Okay, another thing that we can do here is passing parameters to, well, this is things of CSS in JS. So for example, in the state, we can use the state, for example. Okay, we have some information here that we can change using actions. I don't know if we will have time to create some actions, but I think it's interesting that maybe we can show these values here. So to do that, in a state theme, we can do here const we can take the portion from the state, and in the banner, show on post, show on list. Or what we can do here is create another, we are going to create banner. This is the banner message. So we can access this information here. Under theme, we have a menu, we have feature, and we have banner. Okay, I think I have to reload this because I have done changes in the Frontity settings. Okay, so let me adapt this here. And let's launch it again. Okay, this file is not supposed to be changed in runtime. So there are ways of changing these values by using a portion of the state that are called actions. If we go here to the actions, we can use actions to change the we can use actions in the theme to change values of the state. Okay, so here we have the message from the state. I don't know how are we going with the time. I think that, well, I think that we have shown that there are a lot of more things that we can do, but we have created a Frontity project. We have launched the Frontity project in development. We have created like a very simple component using a style component, and we have used some property of the state to be used in our Frontity project. So I think that to close this demo and to start answering some questions you may have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy this project in production, so you can have the online version. I'm going to put here JSNation so we can recognize this. This is JSNation, 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 Frontity love. Okay, I'm going to stop this. So how do we deploy this? If we go to the deployment, we can see here the steps. So the tool we recommend, the hosting we recommend to do the deploy is Vercel, because it's the simpler way, the more simple way, and also the one that covers automatically some caching techniques that we really recommend. We explain all of that here. So in order to deploy our project in Vercel, we need to create a file called now.json. So I come here and I'm going to create a file called now.json. With this, these are like some rules that the Vercel hosting is going to use to deploy our project. And once we have done that, we can actually do this npx now. npx now, set up and deploy, yes. So you have, you need to be logged in Vercel, and you have also have a scope defined in your Vercel account. But with this done, you will be able to very quickly deploy projects. So as we are using this now.json here, what we are indicating is, hey, use this package to do the deploy. Frontity now is another package that we have created where we have already defined all the things that need to be set for this deploy. So everything it's as easy as this. I mean, this package will be in charge of doing the build. That is the process you need to do to create the production ready version of your project, and will be in charge of also telling Vercel, okay, this is the folder you have to deploy, and so on. And I think that we have here our, yes, this is the project that we have in production. I'm going to share the link in Discord so you can have a look at it. And that's all. We don't have much time to do more things, but I think this is a good showcase of how to start with Frontity. I recommend you to have a look at the documentation that you have available in docs.frontity.org. In case you have some questions, you can use our community forum, community.frontity.org, where we can we can answer all your questions. And we are also in YouTube, we are starting from we are starting uploading videos with some didactic materials. So have a look at this channel because you will find some useful information there.